Everybody, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. I'm your host, Matt Connarton, the television edition. And to my right is John Hopwood. And boy, we saw quite the premiere there between your show and mine.
Yes, it was a day, what do you call it, teaser of Garbage at Large, a new show on Manchester Public Television.
Yes, very excited, very excited. I think it's going to win an Emmy, I can already tell.
A local Emmy? Well, because we have an Oscar. It could win the Oscar
There
award.
we go. There we go.
Now known as sometimes as the Gatsis Award. It's like the Academy Award became the Oscar. This is the Gatsis, because ask not to have your fanny kissed. Just ask whose fanny to kiss.
That's right.
And
that's
the
right.
Gatsis.
So if you're watching this program and you didn't see Ward 13, we'll have that up. Well, actually, there's a 10 p.m. replay, and we'll have it up on YouTube.
And there is a preview of Garbage at Large whenever you feel so inclined to play it. I think we got a little taste of it at the end of my show.
Yes, we have another.
There's the teaser. It only lasts about 3 or 4 minutes.
Jen loves that picture of.
Oh, well, let's bring the picture up.
Yeah, let's.
Should we run the video?
Yeah, why don't we run the video? Another teaser for it. Is it like a sizzle reel? Is that what they call it, or is it just a teaser?
So. It is sizzling.
Oh, good. Okay, so let's see that.
It's going to be a bumpy night.
Outlaw, but I thought I knew him well. Long after that great summer, when I first came into my fame, and the Avenger from Oklahoma was added to my name, the Avenger I became.
Impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary.
Then my baby gave me a food ride. Wow.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
I'm sorry.
I've been waiting.
You weren't waiting, Ray. Will you take your paws off me?
All right, steady. I'm talking to her.
had me here all the way from Chicago.
What for?
Aren't men terrible?
Ain't they, though?
Aren't men terrible?
Ain't they, though?
Wow.
Oh, they forgot. Well, there was it did the cutout just in time.
Yes.
That terrible John Hopwood was. You can always go on the Ward 13 Facebook page, or just go online, and all these various confabulations based on the Richard H. Gerard Facebook sexting posts
Yes.
are there. And it's an interesting, I was talking to Matt,
They make a lovely couple, by the way. I just want to point that out.
is who do you believe? We were talking about in my show, Ward 13, about the Mike Gill and the defamation suit. What do you believe? And I was actually involved in breaking this story.
Yes.
And interviewed the Little Mel.
Yes.
And there was a lot of accusations being made. And the only person that we got the actual evidence on was Richard H. Gerard, who, as you see, if you go and read the Facebook sexting posts, you'll find what he's basically is looking for a piece. Like,
Yes.
when did you become Miss Morality? I want my share.
Yes.
And the thing was, I was actually looking at it. I have another one, but we're not going to run it, where he and another person who helped break the story with me, there's an interesting, one of the last exchanges, she suddenly became very angry when he was saying she would not sleep with him. And he said, oh, fine. I was just like, well, this was just therapy. And, yeah, you've proved that you weren't a sexually driven piece of meat. There's a real good thing to say to somebody.
The next day, I think that was
right.
that part
There's
of it,
all, you can go online and find them. I'll put up a straight version, too, since somebody else, a straight version, that's a good thing. I'm not talking with my hands today because I don't want anybody to think I'm gay. Right. What was it? Not that anybody would want, care. But that's one of the things that Richard H. Gerard, he likes to hit below the belt. Right. But speaking of below the belt, that's where we have the microphone metaphor and stuff. But he wanted his piece.
Yes.
But I actually interviewed her, and as we were in our last show, what is the truth? What is truth? Bacon wrote the essay 500 years ago. What is truth? Jesting Pilate asked, but did not stay for the answer. And we got the truth on him. But allegedly there was an exchange of naughty photos and more stuff. But she dropped off the face of the earth at that point.
Right.
And
well, you and I were kind of on opposite sides of that whole
right.
thing.
We were going to become. Remember, a person, a mutual friend, was going, and then suddenly this, because there was another person that was accused in this scenario. Yes. Now, I never wrote about that individual.
Right, George Lambert.
Because, I wasn't even going to say his name.
Oh, well, everyone knows.
There was I could find no evidence. Yeah. That was just strictly hearsay.
Yeah.
And,
see, my perspective on it at the time was, and I actually, and he's probably mad at me and will have forgotten all this, but I actually stuck up for Gerard at the time because even though I can't excuse what he did, I mean, he's a married guy. He shouldn't be doing that. But
and a hypocrite.
Yeah, well,
where's your IUD?
Right,
which is
exactly.
An abortifacient and a
Catholic, and
you can put it in 5 days later. It'll abort anything that has been at conception. And he's, Mr. Professional, holier than thou.
Right, exactly,
Catholic.
Exactly. But my perspective on it was, even though again I can't stress enough, I don't want anyone to think I'm excusing what he did. Not at all. It was wrong. But I also feel that because I had a unique perspective on the whole thing that very few other people did, and that I know her very well. Not that well, thank God, if you're wondering, but I know her very well.
Right.
And I know of her methods of kind of manipulating people into situations where they feel comfortable, they let their guard down, they trust her, and then she sticks the knife in.
Well, that's why I did that. Great song, Avenging Annie by
yes.
Andy Pratt.
Yeah.
There's also a cover by Roger Daltrey. But he sings it from a male point of view.
Yeah.
Rather than that. Which, but the, let's get back to that. But there's just one thing. Why I was really looking into the stuff was one of the last ones after he was saying, oh, well, this is just therapy.
Right.
He talks in one of the posts, and I don't have it with me. We do have another video, but we won't get into that. They're kind of repetitious after a while, just like and folks, these are pornographic. But he talks about, I usually don't get paid for a counseling session. And me and another person that were looking, what is he? Is he some type of? He's not a licensed counselor.
Right.
Is he a religious counselor? Is he a layman? Is he he wanted to be a layman. He wanted to be a layman. This stuff, it's like a satire. It's like a gift. The Gold Dust Twins. They just are a gift that keep giving. You just have to realize it's hilarious and it's satire.
Yeah.
But. And for people that would criticize, well, he has a family and everything, the people he goes after and tries to destroy have families too. And I've seen the effect. Mm-hmm. And he went after me, and he is what he is.
Yeah.
He missed the toad, I guess, from another thing. But counseling. So now this man's on the school board.
Right.
When I read some of his posts, I'm over there with the kids, like in 5th grade, it makes me cringe.
Really?
Cringe, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
But, Matt, we were getting to the thing. How do you tell the truth? I did not write anything about the other, which would have been an ideal time, because was he at the time running for the Senate?
George, I forget.
Or was it later?
I think he was, yeah.
So it would have been a great story. We got all sorts of hits and everything.
Right.
But I just...
and we had George and his family on the show at the time.
And I know, even though we were... Then I didn't talk to you for a year until you harassed me on Gary Hopwood.
Yeah.
which to me, I remember it made me laugh. When you were making a funny voice and stuff.
My dramatic reading.
That's when I was still drinking tequila.
Ah, yes. Yes.
And I didn't know I had PTSD.
Yeah. No, but, a lot of people were mad at me for kind of sticking up for Gerard in that, because they we live in this, for one thing, I mean, we live in this very politically correct time where... Yeah. With the one exception being using the N-word, ever doing what anyone might perceive as victim blaming is like the most politically incorrect thing you can do, right? So for me to side against her, a lot of people, because you're just not supposed to do that. You're supposed to assume if you say anything to impugn the integrity of the victim,
right?
Then. Because she even messaged me and called me a rape apologist and all this.
Oh, yeah, she attacked you.
Oh, yeah.
She went out. And let's talk about Richard H. Gerard.
Yes.
He set her up with, I'm not going to say a blog on a good, respectable online site. I'm trading a favor or whatever.
Oh, he helped her do that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what she told me. And he was wanting her to become a conservative type of columnist, although she's not.
Right.
She'd be, I guess, a lefty, but a libertarian. A lot of lefties are libertarians.
Yeah.
Or you can be a libertarian left-leaning.
Well, she's a follower.
Right.
She'll believe whatever.
Oh, yeah, you read her posts on this. It was a site. And up in Concord, they also had one in Bedford for when I had my column on the Bedford one, because there was no Manchester. He's attacking me for, being Bedford while setting somebody from Manchester up on one. The hypocrisy of this.
Right.
And the attempt to exploit this woman. And then the thing, counseling. This is a person that had... she had borderline personality disorder, which is a very terrible thing. Of all mental illnesses, I think that's about the worst. The high rate of suicidal ideation and that.
Yeah.
It makes something like, PTSD, I guess, a walk in the park. And it isn't a walk in the park.
Yeah.
But the counseling, I should have brought it.
Yeah.
But,
and that was just him.
What is he doing here? And he is a human being. It's just like Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Bernie people bringing out that stuff out again. Because, when you're in politics, you just throw the manure against the wall and sees what sticks.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes it gets desperate. Do you remember in 2008, they were the Clinton campaign was desperately trying to find anything on Obama. And at one point, they had leaked out a story about Obama supposedly in the first grade telling his fellow classmates that he was going to be president someday. This is how desperate and pathetic
Everybody
it
does
got.
that.
Right, right.
Except the imbeciles.
Because they were trying to contribute to that narrative that he's the Manchurian candidate or something. You
right.
know? Just ridiculous.
That it's all about, right.
Yeah.
But for the remember the crayon eaters? Did they allow you to have crayons when you were in school?
Yeah.
They were the crayon eaters. They were like the absolute bottom of the barrel.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But just using this, and then we were talking about the defamation suit against Mike Gill. How do you tell the truth? She hedged about the stuff. Like I said, I heard that there were photos exchanged between the two. There was more stuff, and it just stopped, you know?
Yeah.
And as a source, it's just... So even though the other story would have been just as good. Good in terms of like promoting myself. I think I was with Yahoo then too.
Okay.
I had both columns, Examiner and Yahoo.
Yeah.
I just didn't go for it
Right.
because I didn't know Mr. Lambert. I watched him on shows. I watched him on Norm and stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw his defense.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think about going for that because I don't know. I know what happened here was true.
Right.
That's how reality. It has to be socially defined.
Right.
I saw it. Other people saw it. She revealed it. The other stuff, I didn't see any. There was no evidence. It's not like he could have sued me for libel.
Right. Right.
He is an actual public figure.
Right.
And I guess she did live there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
At the time of the exchange, she was in a homeless shelter. Because one of the things says I'm in a shelter now. The last exchanges were happening early in the morning, around 4:30, which Rich Gerard, I found that gets up very early. When I went to put the Joe Kelly Lavasser sign out on a snowbank, and as a joke, and my poor dog, speaking, we were talking about horses defecating.
Yeah.
If the dog had her business done a little earlier, we would have got away scot-free. He's up early. They were exchanging stuff at like 4:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah,
and she says something about the shelter. Who knows where she was? But the thing that why I went back to them is this thing about counseling. The counseling.
Well, he was just desperately trying to manipulate her. You know.
Right.
Oh, I was just wanted to see what you would do.
And this has to. Here's a person that's going to lead the jihad and the bathroom wars. Which suddenly, in the culture wars, it's now the bathroom wars.
Yes. We have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's on the line?
Actually was calling for Ward 13. Is that show over?
Well, it is, but the two shows kind of bleed into each other, so close enough.
Are you still doing the baseball topic?
No, that's next week. Next week will be baseball, and we're going to be talking about the best pitcher we ever saw in person. Me was Clemens, and we got somebody saw Sandy Koufax. We're going to have a Bob Gibson, too. So call in
Hi, John. This is Mark.
Mark, that's you? No, we're talking about sexcapades. We're talking about sexcapades today. Remember that?
See, I got the date wrong. So if you send me an email, remind me. I'll call you. I'll call in next week.
Who was the greatest pitcher you ever saw? If you had to pick one in person.
That is a difficult question, but I might say
Seaver?
Nolan Ryan.
More than Seaver? Okay, this is Matt Connarton.
Maybe even better than Seaver. It's hard to say, though. I mean, they're all so good.
Okay, but, call in next week, and Mr. Baseball.
I will. I just have to remember. That's my only problem these days.
We're dealing with the sexcapades of right-wing politicians right now. Before we segue into something else, Mark. Take care.
Bye, Mark.
See you next week.
Now, Mark was a genius. He was at Boston University at 16 to study medicine.
Really?
He is an exhibit I would give to the anti-marijuana people.
Yeah.
But, since his nickname at BU was drugs, maybe there was some other stuff.
Right.
Folks, LSD. I never took it.
Yeah.
Maybe Jack Webb, I grew up on Dragnet, was wrong about marijuana. Jesus, can you believe oh, marijuana is going to lead to heroin. That's like Jack Webb,
Right.
1967.
Yeah.
But LSD, I would stay away from.
Bernie's the one candidate who's said we should take marijuana off of the what is it, Schedule 1?
It's ridiculous. But we were talking about rumors,
Yes,
truth.
yes.
What's the truth? You
Yeah.
know, the one thing we have, Mr. Flying Monkey, and he got caught by his testicles. Got caught with his pants down. And or by his baseballs.
Yeah.
And
Were you disappointed that it blew over as quickly as it did? Because I remember people were kind of like, ooh, this is going to become a national story. And then it just didn't.
well, it could have been because his partner in the radio show, which he claims, figuring that out is like going into the labyrinth. You know,
Yeah.
the Minotaur. I'm not afraid of. It's just there's so many. You get lost trying to figure out what exactly they're up to. You know, he actually did make Will Infantine made national headlines when he made a speech about equality for pay for
It was
women.
about the Paycheck Fairness
so
Act, yeah.
You would think that they could have taken this, the media, and spun it into that. But,
Yeah.
you know, the moment was over. And nobody, they just let it drop. Like I said, in the last show we were on, small town.
Do you think Rich Girard, somewhere in his mind, do you think he was disappointed? Because I can imagine someone like him, somewhere in his mind, he's thinking...
You're thinking he's human.
But, right.
A normal, I mean by a normal union with normal responses.
Because there had to be a part of him that wanted it to blow up into a national story, even though it was negative. Because at least then he'd be this
it'd make his
national
ego.
figure, you know? Yeah.
Never thought of that.
Yeah.
I know that before he challenged me to the fight in the bathroom, he was saying, after putting up the ridiculous sign,
Yeah.
he said, oh, you're giving me a lot of copy, a lot of using the old term for newspaper.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he shifted into that. And
Yeah.
we've talked about that. I've talked to you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which there's a couple details that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
He let's not even think about that. Interesting that my first encounter with in person would be in a bathroom with this man who's running the bathroom wars, who's the head Ayatollah. But
You know,
I don't know. There's an incredible capacity for people. I know that I just watched the movie Spotlight. And it's just not the Catholic Church, you know. You can say it's all sorts of organizations. If you're in the West, the Mormons have plenty of scandals with the people that are, you know, purer than thou, Joseph Smith, and they get covered up for because it embarrasses the church that's mainstream.
Right.
And I'm not going to put down the mainstream Mormon Church at all. You know, Romney or John Huntsman.
Yeah.
They do a lot of good and stuff.
Sure.
And there's always something going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you watch Spotlight, how they just people just know what's happening, and you just don't deal with it.
Now,
that's the human condition, though.
Spotlight I haven't seen yet, but is that the one about the Catholic Church?
Boston, about the Cardinal covering up the scandal.
Law?
Right.
Okay, yeah.
And I know Joe McQuaid went after, he sent up McCormick, who's the bishop here. This is one of the only, on Wikipedia, a place of its size that had a big scandal with that.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about the Catholic Church or anything. It's just because, like I said, this could be any.
Sure.
You know, think about all the Protestant sects and all.
Oh,
stuff.
sure.
Not sects.
Right.
And
SECTS.
all the stuff that goes on with them.
Yeah.
But there's just this. It's just human nature. People don't want to look at the bad.
Well, you know, you were talking about truth too, and have you seen any of these studies that have shown that? And you certainly see this demonstrated in politics all the time, where someone will, if someone believes something that isn't true, and they're presented with evidence or facts that contradict their belief, they just dig their heels in more and believe it even more instead of being open to this additional data. And that's really depressing.
It's the Cro-Magnon mind. I've convinced people, I thought I'd convince people, and then you go back to them and they've just rejected it.
Yeah.
Logic does not trump emotion, and that's hardwired into our brains.
Yeah.
There was an article in the Wall Street Journal or something. I'll send it to you for next week.
Yeah.
It's about the way we engage politically in our minds is just linked to that old reptilian Cro-Magnon brain. Particularly, I would guess, since men are more Cro-Magnon than women. They have a slightly more developed brain. They have less of the reptilian brainstem and more of the higher functions. That's why, and
women do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Males are more primitive.
More aggressive, yeah.
And the more reptilian, the parts of the brain. But that's the part of the brain you use with politics. Threats, that.
Yep.
How could a hustler, an absolute charlatan like Trump, an absolute phony, a demonstrable phony, get away with it? It's quite amazing.
Marco Rubio had a great line about him in one of the debates. I don't know if you saw this, because you didn't really watch any of the debates,
No, I didn't
right?
even watch last night.
Rubio said that if it weren't for Trump's rich father, Trump would have been selling watches in Times Square.
He gave him, I think, a $300 million portfolio.
Wow.
Of properties. But he didn't lose it.
Right.
A lot of people do.
Right, that's true.
When you factor inflation, he neither is, he didn't make much out of, but he still has it. And look at what he's done. You can't.
Oh, yeah.
And what can you say?
Yeah.
But it boggles them. I don't follow it because this year boggles the mind.
See, that's why I enjoy it so much. To me, this is the most fun election ever. Like, I almost...
you have to have that attitude.
Yeah.
That's why we got the Asker Award.
That's right. I almost don't even want to follow politics after this election because I feel like everything after this will just be anticlimactic.
I don't want to follow politics at all, but it's a drug. It's a drug like anything.
Oh,
absolutely. It's
absolutely.
a threat. It engages you and all this stuff,
Yeah.
We were talking about the defamation suit filed against Mike Gill.
Yeah.
I think part of Mike Gill. Mike Gill is one of the great figures of horse racing. Now, horse racing is very exciting. I don't know if he was a gambler, but he is gambling as a businessman.
Oh, sure.
Horses and everything. It's action, and it makes connections in your brain. It wires your brain, and it's just like, we'll use the term degenerate gambler. Just means you're habitual. Degenerate. A degenerate gambler is always gambling.
Yeah.
That's just a term that they used back when I was a kid. And stuff.
Yeah.
And but you have to have the action always. So I think Mike has a brain wired that way for horses. And then he's coming over to the people, and he needs the action again when he's being the rumors and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the rumors of horse touts and everything.
Yeah.
His brain works so fast. It works like a computer.
Yeah.
He's one of those savants, He told us on your show 6 weeks ago or whatever it was, he can see these patterns in horse racing.
Right.
So he's seeing them here.
Yeah.
But a horse and a person, we talked about this on my show, War 13. So we kind of go together.
Yeah.
But his brain is wired for action.
Right.
And so he's looking for it in the politics. And even when you're a journalist and you start honing in on a story like the Gerard sexting stuff, it gets you high.
Oh, yeah.
You're working on it. You're breaking the story.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Gerard's always got when you listen to Gerard, he's very intelligent. You can learn so much about him. You can learn where he always tips his cards, so you know where everything's coming. But beyond that, when he can control himself, you learn a lot about budgeting, that, which other people can't tell you.
Yeah. No, he's a smart guy.
There's something wired in his brain where he needs the action. He has to be a provocateur.
Yeah. And he's a fast talker. It's funny. He's been on this show once. I don't think he'll be back, but this was a few years ago. Mel had booked him to come on because she was booking the guests at the time.
Little Mel?
Oh, yes.
Little Mel booked your guest?
Yes, back before everything went to hell. Yep.
Okay. I know a few tales. I never even talked to you about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I could probably get confirmation. Not that he'd be printing it anymore.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Little Mel.
Yeah. But Gerard had, we were talking about.
I need a slug of something.
Yeah, we were
Look
talking.
at it's just
the polar
orange.
Polar. We got we had Gerard on. We were talking about gay marriage, and actually it was Gerard and a co-host I had, Chris Rose.
Is he against gay marriage?
Gerard?
Yeah.
Well, of course. But I'll give him credit for this. So he made a constitutional argument against it.
I've never seen him actually say bigoted things about
Right.
transgender
Right.
or gay people.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
But he made a very smart constitutional argument against it. And I disagreed
And
with.
what was that?
I don't remember. I can't even remember
Could
at
have
all,
made
to be
the
honest.
same thing against blacks.
He was,
1967.
right. He was talking very fast. But I remember being impressed with his argument. I disagreed with his position because I've always been pro marriage equality. But I was impressed with how he argued it. I thought he's a good debater. Because in gay marriage is an example where a lot of people take the low road, people who oppose it, and say dumb things like, oh, next thing you know, someone will think they can marry their dog or something stupid like that. And Girard didn't go that way. He made a constitutional legal argument. So I disagreed with his position, but I was impressed by his argument. So no, he's not a dummy. That's for sure.
I find that a lot of the people on the show, their understanding of the Constitution is less based in the Constitution and law than what they actually want it to say from their beliefs. But that's true with everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very hard to discipline yourself for anything.
Yeah.
What is real? What is true? But what is real? What is real?
Yeah.
So Mr. Gill made some pretty. What would be the adjective statements? Pretty provocative.
Provocative is a good word for it. Yeah.
And he did provoke them. See, I never bought his argument or anybody that the fact that the three gentlemen that are now suing him, that the fact that they didn't file a defamation suit against him was any type of indication of that it was true.
Right.
Knowing the law, knowing about libel and everything, I figured it was coming. And when I heard somebody called me saying, they just read it in the Union Leader. I didn't. I picked one of the people. Oh, it must have been him.
Yeah.
The three, but it was three people.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty obvious. One of the people, I knew. They would. You just know it.
Yeah.
Because. But you know, this is your show.
Yeah.
These are difficult things to talk about too.
Even. Yeah.
Because we're trying to. Why does Mike Gill believe this? I'm not going to say, oh, he's this or that, like people. Why does an intelligent person believe what they do?
Right.
On my show, Ward 13, we talked about rumors.
Yeah.
Rumor. About Girard and her. Well, around the studio, people knew what was going on. Not necessarily with Girard trying to get his piece.
Oh, you might know something I don't know.
Oh, I heard rumors, but it's just rumors.
Right.
I was on another show, which no longer is, and I said, the first time I was on, I said, you'll see there's going to be a big sex scandal. You can go back in 2013 and see it. And I made a joke, he's going to be pulled out of a privy up on the Kangamegas Highway, hiding. He's doing deep background research. And the story did break, It took a while.
Okay.
If you'd already heard this stuff. But how do you find out what is real? Mm-hmm. What's true and what's real?
Yeah. Well, some people think that where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right.
So some people assume everything is true, that all rumors are true or have some truth, otherwise the rumor would not exist.
Everything's a rumor until you nail it down.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a rumor until she went public and revealed the sext posts.
Right.
And she was a person, I think she went to WMUR and other places, and the Union Leader wouldn't print that these days. Ted Seifert would print it. Paul Feely, I call at the Gatzis Gazette.
Yeah.
That column is meaningless. It's just fluff. It's meaningless. Each week it's got a picture of one of the Republicans on the board.
Yeah.
Or Gatzis. It rewrites stuff that happens a bit to make like like the committee on. There's a special committee on drugs, youth services, which an alderman is the drive. Oh, Gatzis doesn't. I don't know what the dynamic is now. But last year.
Yeah.
But when I was a Sovietologist, there was Pravda, which means truth, and Izvestia, the news. So the joke about Sovietologists was there's no truth in Pravda, and there's no news in Izvestia.
Yeah.
So Girard at Large is Pravda, and the Gatzis Gazette is Izvestia.
Yeah.
But Izvestia wouldn't print. Paul Feely of Izvestia would not print. Of the Gatzis Gazette would not print that story now.
Right.
They would just. There is so much going on here. Never sees the light of day.
But do you think newspapers like the Union Leader, are they
So
less...
it doesn't exist. There was no sex
Right.
scandal, be it the Mormons, and I'm thinking of a specific one down in southwestern Utah or Nevada or something, where they actually polygamy.
Yeah.
And the church elders will kind of run interference because this will, if it comes out, and it does, if it becomes bigger, it makes them who are already having trouble, people, oh, Mormon's not a Christian, and this and
Right.
that. So how do you find, it doesn't exist. Certain people taking sexual advantage of young people, it doesn't exist. Even if it's happening, right? If the tree falls,
But if it's
and
not
nobody hears it.
codified in print, like in the Union Leader...
So getting back to Gerard and his scandal, it just gets wiped out. He's on the school board, and
But if the
it never existed.
But
it
if the
never
Union
existed.
If the Union Leader had printed it, though, do you think that would have been the springboard for it to then turn into a national story, like some people were hoping?
Which story are we talking about?
The sexting.
Well, they did turn. The Union Leader did.
Oh, they did print it.
Yeah, Ted
Okay.
Seifer covered it.
Oh,
that was
okay.
the only thing that covered it.
But was that strictly online, or did that make it into the actual newspaper?
Oh, it was on the newspaper and
It was in the
online.
newspaper.
You can still find
okay.
it. There are stories in this town that aren't covered.
Yeah.
I'll just say there was a. There are stories that aren't covered.
Yeah.
That you can go. I don't even bother to write a lot of stuff. What's the point?
Yeah.
You know? And.
What do you think
I'm
is...
thinking of a specific story,
Really?
and I know that Rich Gerard was involved in and lied about it.
Oh,
but I'm
really?
not going to say what it is. He literally lied about things. He literally lied about there was a department in the city, and the mayor terminated a volunteer because she supported a mayoral candidate he didn't like. Now, Gerard
Wow.
took to social media literally lying. He even lied about this person's own child.
Really?
Lied about it.
Yeah. To defend the mayor?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
to defame this woman.
Oh,
He lied
wow.
about it. Now, I could have done a cover up about him lying about it, but it would probably, in the situation, people wanted to stop the story.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he lied, and he got away with it again. And he's on, no journalist covered the story, so Hopwood's wrong.
Right.
But Hopwood was right. That actually happened.
Yeah.
That actually happened.
Yeah.
And I went with one part of the story. Oh, I wanted to follow through.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's things. You have a responsibility. When you have a source, you can't go beyond what the source wants you to do.
Right.
And things worked out. Things worked out in the end. Because as things do, people behind the scenes will work the things out. But if there hadn't been any of the publicity about what was going on, things wouldn't have worked out.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, but things aren't being publicized now in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But, Rich Gerard deliberately lied about that.
But like the Union Leader, do you think eventually, I mean, how relevant is Union Leader compared to, say, even 10 years ago? Do you think it's still relevant? Because, there's all this...
Gatsas got reelected.
There's all this doom and gloom about newspapers in general that eventually there just won't be any newspapers.
I heard the Union Leader was going to... 18 months out of from the primary, I heard it was going to die.
Really?
And it was only being kept alive somehow. And now you have the USA Today. Obviously, they have a stake in that paper somehow.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Oh, you don't read it? It's...
The Union Leader?
The
No.
Union Leader is about the most worthless rag.
That's why I don't read it.
You can read it. You could read it in one bowel movement. Unless you get to the sports section. I don't know. They don't have the Agate print anymore. I don't know what it is about men.
That'd be a great
Hating the
tagline.
sports.
Be a great tagline for the Union Leader.
Oh,
You can read it in one bowel movement.
In less than one bowel movement.
Yes, in less than one bowel movement to start your busy day.
Depends on what cuisine you had. But it's a worthless rag.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's funny. What's the biggest story you've ever broken? I've never asked you about any of this kind of stuff. This is interesting.
The most famous thing I ever did was Kim Kardashians.
Yeah?
I've never even seen the Kardashians, except in one. As he polishes his glasses, except in one incident. I think we've all seen that video if you're of a certain persuasion.
Yeah.
I've never seen their show. Or
I never have either. I've never
I used to
watched
be one of the main contributors for the Internet Movie Database.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But,
Interesting.
it was in the top 5 of their bios. But you don't get paid.
Yeah.
And, from the beginning, the early days in the Internet, you'd chip in like something. I'm not a Wikipedian, but, Wikipedia has never been commercialized.
Yeah.
So you have that fanatic core. But they commercialize IMDb. There were other sites I was on that would be taken over and just degraded.
Oh, really?
But the Kim Kardashian is a metaphor for the downfall of society. Oh, that went all the way from like from Czechoslovakia, literally Timbuktu, India, and everything.
Well,
because they got it wrong. They said I was a staff writer and I got sacked for writing about Kim Kardashian.
What was this? This was a piece that you had written.
It was a biography on the IMDb, which is one of the. Except for Wikipedia, the IMDb is the number one place that people go to get information about cinema,
right,
actor, the bios. I've had you can see books sometimes. You can actually go on and find out how many times you've been cited.
Huh.
Most of my sites are called unreliable.
Oh, no kidding.
Those are the ones that have to do with politics.
Yeah.
I was a pretty good movie writer, so I've been in a couple, I'm not books where they just cited something I wrote.
So you wrote something negative about her, and then they kicked you off?
And no, they just deleted it.
Oh, okay.
And the press went wild. Perez Hilton attacked me.
No kidding.
I didn't even know who Perez Hilton was.
Yeah.
After my show last week, I should call him, have him on.
Yeah.
We could talk about Myra Breckenridge, the
right?
movie. But he said I was, he attacked me, so that gives me publicity.
Wow.
Somebody had a thing, and Gerard used to tweak, insult me about it. Should have won the Nobel Prize in online writing. For this Kim Kardashian thing. But here's the thing. People thought I was a staff writer and I got sacked for writing it. No, it's just a contribution I made.
Oh, okay.
There's no editors at the IMDb. I was the only editor.
Oh, okay.
Well, I wrote over 600 bios.
No kidding.
That time,
Wow.
But I stopped writing generally about that stuff.
Yeah.
But that was my big story. But it was an opinion piece.
Now, what about here in Manchester?
Well,
what's the biggest thing? Would it be the sexting?
Thing.
Yeah.
Joe Lavasser was part of that too, but I'm the one who put it out.
Yeah.
And,
well, he was part of it in what way? I mean, I remember you talked about it on his show because he has no love for Stinky. They're old foes, right?
I'm not going to comment on that. Politics makes strange bedfellows and shifting alliances.
It does. It does. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one who put the story out again. Well, Ted Seifert did too.
Yeah.
We were breaking it around the same time.
Yeah.
But, geez, I don't know. I can't even remember. I can't even remember who we had on our show last week until I remember Myra Breckenridge.
Right. So I think the Lambert story was first.
Well, I didn't cover that.
Right, you didn't cover that, but I think that was first, and then the Gerard story, which kind of...
No, Gerard came for... Who knows? See, this is about memory. Isn't this interesting?
Exactly, yeah.
But for that hard copy of those sex, now Joe Lavasser put up a video of the sexting post.
Yes.
But he took it down during the municipal election. But I'm not going to talk about that.
Oh.
I like Joe. And
well,
what he does, I'm not going to... whatever, he's a alderman that has to represent the city.
Oh, yeah.
What he has to do... If he takes that down so Stinky, lays off him or something, that's just politics.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. But now they're up again.
Right, yeah.
And more creative than ever, I might add.
Well, I still have the transcript. Actually, I have it on this Mac somewhere.
You might have a more complete one. We'll have to get together because I want to put a straight one out. But
I have it because I got it from Joe.
I'm talking with my hands again.
Because when that story broke, Joe posted on Facebook at the time.
Gave me the stuff.
What's that? He didn't?
Oh, it must have been Joe that I got the stuff from.
Probably, because he had posted on Facebook, if anyone needs this, message me and I'll email it to you.
And I wrote a couple articles on Examiner, because I don't think Yahoo would let me print it.
Yeah.
Which was pretty... They were expurgated, where I have to say, like, he seems to have a fetish for the aroma of a woman's private parts and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I put that out. but I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh well, there's stories. The one about this story about with Gatsis. It's all sorts of Gatsis and the hypocrite about all his. It's just such simple stuff. Gatsis, as an election move, went after the benefits of all the aldermen and all the school board members, while the guy was taking $200,000 in benefits himself. And this is a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
I was on Lavasse's show and we showed that. All you have to do is go down and find the information.
Yeah.
But nobody would print the stuff.
Really?
The hypocrisy of him. One thing I'm going to be digging into, he was up at the VA hospital because he's running for governor.
Mm-hmm.
And the veterans were bitching about the Veterans Choice Program, which a veteran is like a mother and or a wife. If a vet ain't bitching, she ain't happy. But at the last meeting,
we should remind everyone you're a veteran, so you can
board
say that.
of mayor and aldermen. You can say anything you want about veterans. Veterans are not. I find this thank you for your service the most cloying. Oh, it drives me nuts. It actually is. Thank you for being dumb enough to go off and get screwed up so my kids don't have to, and we can get cheap gasoline. Well, why not just say that?
Yeah, fair enough.
And let's not get there. And Gatsis. We were talking about Gatsis. Well, a person at the board of mayor and aldermen, a veteran, came to talk about the school, and he had his hat on, USR, like one I have. And Gatsis says, "Take your hat off." He says, "I won't. You're not a veteran." Now,
Wow.
At first it was like, oh, great, but they should have a thing. The rules, you shouldn't have your hat on or anything.
Yeah.
But I want to look into there is no I can't think of any veterans programs at the Mayor Gatsis. If there's any veterans office, we don't have an office of civil rights, which is a pretty amazing for a city of this size.
Right.
And that, there are other cities that are just as big, but this is an important place where it is. We're 55 miles from Boston.
Yeah.
We have the New Hampshire primary.
Yeah.
One thing that the bathroom wars will do is make those high-tech companies really, want to come here. So they're bigoted against odd people.
Right. Well, look what
Nerds
happened.
and
Look what
stuff.
happened in North Carolina. Jeez, they got people like Springsteen canceling their tour stops.
There's not going to
there
be NBA All-Star. That should be it.
Yeah.
But it's the whole thing. What's true? What about has the city done anything for veterans? They scaled back the veterans exemption for property taxes. The only two people I know that champion veterans are Joe Lavasser and Keith Hirschman.
Mm-hmm.
They stood up for the veterans exemption. So
Yeah.
what is, Gatsis can say whatever he wants, and he does.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to call him out.
Yeah. So why do you think he's running for governor? Because he can't beat Sununu, right?
Well,
It's gotta be Sununu.
I heard. Now, I'm not going to, heard. It's just a rumor.
Yes.
He spent $300,000 out of his own pocket in the last 3 weeks of the election, because otherwise Joyce Craig would be mayor now, and we really would be having the happy times. Well, she wouldn't be BSing us. Everything is hunky-dory.
Even
now.
some Republicans endorsed her, like Joe LaChance endorsed
Oh, yeah.
her.
But he wants to get that. When you're running a gubernatorial campaign, you can get your money back. Campaigns roll over. That's a rather cynical way of putting it. But here's the thing. Everybody there, we could have a legion, literally legion, winning the Gatsis Award. It's quite amazing.
Yes.
Ask not that someone kiss your bottom. Ask for whose bottom to kiss. That'd be the Gatsis Award. Everything is, the land of milk and honey suddenly, here.
Yeah.
Because people are, and the big thing is, Gatsis is now the favorite to win for governor. How did that suddenly happen?
Who's saying that? Is somebody
People
actually
are,
saying that?
that's going around now. And I say, that means people are saying, well, that's my way of deflecting the fact that I'm kissing his posterior and not doing anything to show him up like we should be doing in a democracy. So we'll say, well, he's going to be governor. And he's going to do good things when he's up in Concord. All the throttling, the Republicans, which is his own party, are throttling us. So, sending all these things back to us from budget cutting that we have to pay for. That's going to stop. And sure, Ted Gatsis has done nothing for the city of Manchester. He's going to do it up in Concord. He can't do it from the mayor's office.
Does he have to resign as mayor at some point to
No, not
legally?
to run.
Okay.
If he was governor, he would have to.
Right. Okay. But he can.
I don't understand. Why isn't there a movement to get this guy to step down? He obviously has no interest in running this city. He lied to us. But he's a politician. He's Ted Gatzis. He's a successful businessman. You can't really. It's like you brought the dog in because it was during a thunderstorm. It shat on your carpet. I mean, it's a dog, right? Right. Ted's gonna do what he does. He does it. He's a politician.
Right.
It's the parasites that it's not just Ted Gatzis. Anybody's going to do if the people, the board of mayor and aldermen, allow him all this power.
Yeah,
he's going to take it. He is going to take it. Why wouldn't he? That's normal. Look at Obama. I voted for him. He's supposed to be the most transparent president ever. That's one of the things I care about. For whistleblowers and everything. He is the worst since Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
well, I always say, too.
It's just natural. He's a president.
I'm pretty sure he's dropped more bombs and killed more civilians than any other Nobel Peace Prize winner in history.
Well, you'd be wrong.
Really?
Yeah. Henry Kissinger won the Nobel Prize.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's a guy that should have been tried as a war criminal.
I forgot all about that. Oh, my God.
War criminals are hung. They're not shot.
Why did he win the Nobel Peace Prize? I can't remember.
Vietnam.
Because they credited him with what? What was
ending the war.
Really?
With Lee Duc-Tho, who refused it because it was a joke. There was a great documentary out last year or 2 years ago, HBO, about the end of Vietnam. All they wanted it was all politics. But that's a whole show in itself.
Yeah.
I'm more into what's truth, what's real, what's going on. You'd think that now we're living in the land of milk and honey, where during the election, What is real?
I don't know. I'm stuck on what. So what happens to Gatzis when he loses? Because I think he's going to lose.
See, everybody. Here's the thing. Gatzis is going to lose. September, and then he's going to just quit. Yeah, sure he is.
He'll just run for re-election for mayor again when it's time.
No, he's just going to step down because he'll be so humiliated. I've heard this over and over again.
I don't believe that.
His ego was humiliated, crushed by Pat Arnold. So he's going to not run again. His ego is crushed by Joyce Craig. So this is it. He's running for governor. Nobody knows why. I think
Right.
Let's get the money bags flowing.
Right.
Let's get the money flowing, and he's going to win now. If he loses, he's going to step down. He's not going to run for a fifth term. Listen, if he loses that election, he's going to be there at the podium. The next BOMA meeting and the Board of Schools. Yeah. Meaner, nastier, more vicious than ever. And all the people that have just rolled over are going to get the reckoning that we, the citizens of Manchester, don't deserve.
Right.
But how can you tell what's real?
Yeah.
When nobody in a city joins you.
Right.
There's all sorts of stories here. They're never reported. It's boosterism, Boost. Because that's what you want to do. People want positive stuff.
Yeah. Jen's been enjoying the show and was commenting how you are a wealth of knowledge.
Yes, I should have been a professor, but my father thought, anybody that would smoke a pipe and had leather patches on the coat was a fag. What was it? My brother and I used to do it. This is the thing. World War, Depression, teenager, bombing boy, relieved to go to World War II.
Right.
He didn't get his degree, GI Bill. It's like, become a lawyer, get a license to steal. All that's all a feat. That's why for upper middle class. That's for the upper classes.
Was that a '70s thing? The leather patches.
The leather
on
patches.
The elbows?
Yeah.
It seems like the old '70s
that's
shows.
Such
see that.
Yeah. Anybody that would do this or that. That's not a job for a man. I'm a lawyer, so go out there and break people's long bones and suck the marrow out.
Well, we have to wrap up, but John, thank you so much.
Jeez, this went by fast.
Yeah, this says 2. I think this clock is actually 2 minutes fast because this is 2 minutes ahead of what my.
Do you have 5 of
time says?
5 minutes left.
Oh, we got 5 minutes left.
Well, you know what I forget too. The next show, they don't always start right on time. See, I have it in my brain, like I try to wrap up 5 minutes of, because years ago, back when we were in the other studio, we had an incident where, and everything's cool now, but the progress report guys, Bob Backus and Mike Farley, were kind of annoyed with Gary and I because for whatever reason we went long and we went like right up almost to 6, and they kind of were mad at us about it. And,
Couldn't have to do with their liberals, and Gary Hopper's not.
No, they didn't have anything to do with that. But no, everything's cool.
No,
now,
it is
but
because my show. I can just You have to make a switch over.
Right.
That's why
right.
you have some of these long. It just keeps going on and on for a while.
Yeah.
You know.
I've noticed Joe on his show. I don't get to watch it every week, but once in a while, like he'll go like right to, because when is he on at 8?
Well, Joe's pretty busy too.
And
Sometimes
he'll go to like 9:01.
right,
Sometimes.
but sometimes his show won't start till like 8:05. But usually
That's true.
Ed will, now that Ed has been there, he'll start it without Joe. And Joe will go, he's down at the restaurant because of something. Joe's not only a lawyer
Yeah.
and alderman, he's also
He's
got
a hard-working
business.
dude.
Right,
Yeah.
so he'll just come.
That's true.
And plop in on the chair.
That's true.
But, yeah.
That's true. But we'll start to wrap up. So John, thank you.
Yeah.
And of course, if you didn't see Ward 13, we'll have that up on YouTube later today. And of course, there is the 10 p.m. replay of Ward 13, followed by the 11 p.m. replay of Matt Connarton Unleashed, this show here. And so we'll get both of those up, and there's the replays and all that good stuff. So John Hopwood, thank you again. Hopefully we don't have any further interruptions from the the Gatsis.
The
propaganda.
Gatsless Family Radio.
Yes.
It is your premier source for holier than thou hypocrisy in the Queen City.
Well,
and I'm
somebody's gotta do
honored.
it.
I'm honored to be the person that's going to shepherd Garbage at Large onto the air. 2 weeks.
I'm telling you, I think it's going to win an Emmy.
Maybe
I really
if
do.
we're not unceremoniously expletive deleted canned by then, maybe you can come on again.
That's right. I would love
You
it.
won't be on the baseball show.
Right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk again.